Hi friends, I just shot a whole video with the camera not being on, so take two. I wanted to show you what's going on outside today. We've had chilly nights. It's been 40. Last night was in the high 30s. So it's great for the cold weather crops, but then it was really hot last week and the week before, so they're kind of not knowing what to do, but you could see it's interesting. So we're trying electroculture this year, where you harness the electricity from the atmosphere and you bring it down into your garden bed. So some of these broccoli and Romanesco look great, and some of them do not, right? So I think one of those actually was a kale. I had wanted to cover all of this, and there's a lot of things that I want to do. And if anyone is married who's listening to this knows that not necessarily does your spouse want to do the same things that you want to do all the time. So the hopes that I have for the garden, like this garden bed being built this year, third year, we're trying to get it together. I don't know. Is it going to happen? I don't really know. Would I like it to happen? I would. But you know what? When you have to rely on other people, this is kind of what happens. And in here, I had planted out a ton of leeks. Looks like they all died. The bunch and onions lived. They were thicker and healthier. But even like the Walla Walla onions seedlings that I had grown from seed, it's just a lot of work to plant them out because they're so tedious and they're so small and they don't actually really wind up being very viable. So the bunchy onions work out well, but the leeks and the Walla Walla onions, not so much. So note to self, I've done it now 2 years in a row. I'm not going to do it again. I'm just going to buy the bulb sets, which are what these are from, and I'm going to buy the bulbets. I think Johnny's has them. That's what I'm going to do. So I just don't need a lot. That's the issue. So you have to, it's cheaper to buy the pack of seeds, but if they don't live and I'm doing all this labor and all this work, is it really worth it? I think not. So the fennels are getting really big, and this is why I don't like them in the garden bed, because they take up a lot of premium space. And because I don't have a lot of space this year because we have solar panels over there, this garden bed not being built, the onions and the garlic have kind of taken over a lot. I'm feeling a little anxious. It's been keeping me up at night, I'm not gonna lie. But you can see the medicinal bed's looking great. There's Astragalus, we've got our clary sage down here, our meadowsweet, lovage, which I did trim. I'm gonna trim up again for my smoothie, skullcap. We got a pokey that seeded itself, our volunteer motherwort that I planted in the place of the one that died, which was the mother of the motherwort. Got a perennial geranium, our wormwood, which I did trim up, but you can't even tell. Another geranium. I've got a valerian back here. Marshmallow, the sage is beginning to bloom. There's a borage that seeded itself back here. Oh, it needs some water. Everything is so dry. We haven't had rain. The pollen has been so bad. We still have bad pollen. It was crazy windy yesterday and the day before, so I couldn't even be out here. You were just coughing, and I could taste it today. See the blueberries. Unfortunately, these blueberries, which I thought this year would be better, are not. And I got some of the strawberries dug out, but not enough. I really need to get on this. I'm hoping that maybe that will help the blueberry plants. There's lemon balm I have to get out too. But you can see that the vole and the groundhogs destroying the place again. Oh, that elderberry's got blooms on it. That's exciting. But what's crazy is, today is May 17th, 18th maybe. The elderberry is already blooming. So this is the Sambucus nigra. It usually blooms in June. So shows you how accelerated everything is. Got another baby American over here. This one, the ornamental, doesn't get as many blooms, but it's loaded this year. But they're not opening yet. So it's exciting, but it's also alarming in that this is why the pollen is lasting so long. This is why it's so dry. There's just a lot happening, and we really need to be mindful of what we're doing, of not spraying chemicals, because we're already being sprayed 24/7 from chemtrails, from air pollution. Your water It's all getting toxin exposure. So if you can limit your toxin exposure, that's always what I advise people. The first suggestion I make is to examine where your food is coming from, what food are you eating, what is going on by you. Let's see, the peonies are looking very happy. Irises are in bloom. Our honeysuckle, St. John's wort. You could see that this area has been cleaned out nicely, although there is still grass in here, which annoys me because you can't eat the grass. And it is a very demanding plant in that it takes a lot of chemicals to make it look good and a lot of water, where the rest of this doesn't, right? And it provides the mugwort, the Russian sage, the cleavers, provide nutrition for me and for Mother Earth. Got our Miss Kim's in bloom, our crepe myrtle is looking good. Both these had disease the last few years, again, due to what is going on in the environment. Can only account for so much. I've been working on this bed this week when I'm not getting blown away by the pollen. Again, small steps. We had a cassava randomly growing here, a yucca plant. So my husband dug it up on Sunday. We peeled it and I put it in the freezer. I'll make some mozzarella cheese from that since I don't eat dairy. But you could see there's lots of garlic, which I did not plant. They're not wild onions, they are garlic. But the issue is that I've lost all this garden space. Again, was not great because the ground is not great over here and it hasn't been amended well. But because of the solar panels, I now only have about 4 feet of space. And I need to amend. Hey, leave that alone. Our issue is we're having ants. So it's spring. Usually when it's damp spring, I have the problem with the baby ants coming in. And so I put borax and sugar solution out on cotton balls. And bees sniffing it out. You got a stick? Okay, take the stick. But you could see I did put some of my hummingbird plants out. I picked them up. We've got some of our seedlings in here, some arugula, some kale, some cilantro, some dill, an American elderberry I dug up. Hoping, oh man, all of this stuff just looks so sad. These are my butterfly peas. I don't know if they're gonna do anything this year. Everything is just so dry, even with watering constantly. I did put these sweet potatoes out because I did order slips for the first time, and I don't know when they're coming. And I'm kind of sick of waiting when I had these ones in the house that kept just growing and producing, and they're very well rooted. So I said, forget it, I'm just gonna plant them out. And of course, last night it was like 39. So, you know, they seem to have fared okay. These are some chamomiles that I had winter sown. I forget, they're St. John chamomile, the German, the Roman, and there was another type. Oh, look at that. Hopefully you're beneficial. But you can see the difference in the size here. So the kale and the lettuce is in this one versus the kale and the lettuce is in this one. So yes, this tansy is too big. That was on me that I planted it there. And then also this black cumin seed is too big. And I actually have 3 of them. So I'm going to move that out. But even with rotating, again, and the weather has been wacky, and here's some more black cumin seed, which we don't need. And it's just not, I'm not getting any produce still. So it's cold, it's hot, it's cold, it's hot, right? And it's just not, oh look, a rosacea rose. So, you know, we'll see what happens. This is our winter sowing update over here. We've got some arugula, we've got some orchid impatiens. I forget what these are called. Balsam impatiens maybe. They look like orchids. Some sunflowers. I planted a lot and only 3 germinated. I did St. John's wort and horehound. Nothing has germinated. I think that's calamint. What's this? It's a type of lemon balm. Some cosmos and zinnias. Some borage in there. That's good. Maybe that's a calamint. I took the labels off stupidly. And then still no toasty basil, which is very disappointing. No bushes. But we did clean up. We have been slowly but surely cleaning up the yard. It's just been crazy pollen, crazy windy. Some ranunculus that I got from bulbs here from the dollar store. They germinated. It's always a win. It's sad when the seeds from the dollar store do better than the $5 organic 10 seeds that I buy. Yeah. So something is wacky. Got our clematis in bloom. This morning I was sweeping off the back porch and the front porch to spread diatomaceous earth, which unfortunately will kill beneficial insects, but it will keep the carpenter ants, hopefully, out of my house, because the last few days I've had carpenter ants. Again, it's very dry. Shouldn't have carpenter ants, but I do. So we're not sure if they were living in the garden bed, if they're in, we know they were in this tree, they're in the trees in the front, but it's always something when you own a house. And that's basically it. I tried to harden off some of my string beans. No tomatoes yet, they're still too small. No peppers. And we put everything in the garage last night because it got so cold, so I had to take everything out. But, you know, spring is a time that there's a lot to do, and there never seems to be enough time to do it. And you're contending with either, usually, lots of rain, so there's less pollen, but the last few years we've had less and less rain and more pollen. And so today I'm going to end this video because I need to go drink some nettle tea because I feel like I'm eating pollen as I'm talking to you. But you can see the peonies, the phlox, stuff has been sorted out for the most part. I'm still contending with lots of grass, but I could not do this all on my own. My husband does the majority of it. It takes me longer to do it. I would much rather play in the garden than do the hard, heavy labor. So I'm sure there are other people who agree with me on that. But that's what we're going to call it a day today, and we'll see you guys soon.